So I've probably just dropped around about 4.5 hours with the brand new update that dropped for Battlefield 6 today, guys. And of that, about an hour and a half worth of time with the new content that dropped, you know, a little bit later after the patch dropped itself. And I've got to be honest with you guys, if I could summarize my experience with this update in a few words, it would be that DICE was so bloody close to achieving the perfect update here. Now, when I say that, let me be 100% clear in saying that, yes, things like footstep audio, netcode and hit reg, overall gunplay, that wasn't addressed here, and I'm not assessing the update's merit on that. I'm only assessing the update on what it intended to change and add versus what it actually changed and added. And that's where my assessment comes from today. We're going to dive into all that here today, so if you end up enjoying the video, be sure to give it a like. It does go a long way to supporting the channel. But let's start off here by talking about the flagship of the update. Of course, we're talking Cairo Bazaar, or the brand new remake of the Grand Bazaar map from Battlefield 3. My friends, I've said it on stream and in video a couple of times here that this map has the potential to become my new favorite map in Battlefield 6 if DICE were to implement it appropriately. It's a fan favorite map because its core underbelly has always been so well made and so well versed for tight-knit infantry fighting here, and while I know that they were going to do some revamps and some modernizations to it, I didn't want to see it stray too far from that core underlying gameplay loop that I loved so much in Battlefield 3. But now, having got some hands-on time with it, I'm here to happily report, guys, that, well, my suspicions came true. This map could very well now be my favorite map in Battlefield 6 as a certified infantry enjoyer. I gotta be honest with you guys in saying that this map almost represents a bit of a coming home story for me, you know? Back in the Battlefield 3 days, I have very vivid memories of me and my clanmates at the time just running it back on this map, coming up with diabolical flanks and going on extreme back rages through that center alleyway. And the Battlefield 6 reincarnation of this map captures it beautifully, all the while making the necessary modernizations to make the map flow a lot better than its original counterpart. For example, the destruction that can hit the center lane adds a lot of emergent cover that you can sort of use to push up with over time. But while staying true to that sort of center lane chaos that we all know and love, the map also kind of modernizes itself when it comes to new flanking routes. And these are flanking routes that make sense to me with the flow of the map as well. They vary in size and claustrophobicness, but they offer an alternative route for you to get into, one of the other lanes of the map and use that as a means to go on a potential back rage. Me and my mate Wob, who were playing on the map here on night one, were experiencing that a fair few times here, and it really led to a fun and free-flowing experience here. DICE, in my view, are on a bit of a hot streak when it comes to map design lately. Contaminated, in my view, was a big win, as was Hajjuntal Base, which wrapped up Season 2, and then over in Season 3, we've gotten another couple of really solid maps here for different sides of the game that makes for a really good content injection. So, I hope DICE can continue to pivot in the right direction here, because so far it's been so good. Anyway, we've been talking quite a bit about the map here. I now want to move on to some of the underlying changes that were made here in the update that are honestly, in many cases, absolutely game-changing, and I've got to start out with the visibility changes, guys. I don't think I have ever had more confidence and more authority in being able to identify targets visually in this game since launch. The new and improved filter that is applying to soldiers now, while yes, some may view it as controversial, has actually made massive strides in making the game more readable. There was a match I was playing on Hajjuntal Base after the update dropped, and there were times where I was coming across enemies who were sitting in classic camping spots that pre-update were actually covered by the shroud of a certain darkness to the point where you just couldn't see the enemy. And clearly these players were going back there because they still thought it was protected and still relatively good to get away with. Not anymore. This time I was able to see them and absolutely drop them. Hell, there was this moment here on Empire State where I glanced a guy who was sitting in a second-story window that I know for a fact I would not have seen pre-update, but I saw him this time around. And that is the kind of readability that should be being injected into the game. In that regard, fantastic fix. The only other visibility change I think needs to be made is the contrast of some of the in-game environments just needs to be toned down a little bit, darker lights and brighter darks, if that makes sense, which would, help to minimize some of the extremes that we see on our monitors from time to time. That's all we need to fix in regards to visibility now. I think right now they've landed in a really good sweet spot when it comes to soldier visibility. Another thing that got added in this update, and I'm happy to report is working brilliantly, is the air radar. Oh my god, guys, I did not know how much I was missing this thing. Well, actually, no, I lie, I did. But to now have it in Battlefield 6, especially on my little bird, absolute game changer. While yes, I was keeping a pseudo count on respawn timers every time I took down my little bird opponent, I didn't have to rely on it as religiously, because now when the enemy little bird took off, he appeared on the radar in his base and I could start playing accordingly. There's no more instances of air vehicles just creeping up on you and dropping you because, well, again, the radar doesn't work. Which means I imagine that for our jet fighter compadres in the community, you guys are going to start eating good with some actual dogfighting, which is just music to my ears, quite frankly. Again, excellent to see that this was added and implemented correctly. My only piece of feedback here is that right now there's no visibility on the air radar of the sort of out of bounds areas, which can be a bit clunky to work with if you're flying a helicopter, but that's, look, I'll take this as an aggregate win. I'm also happy to report that the RPG is now back on the menu, fellas. Like, you know, where you aim it is where it's going to go, and it feels a lot more consistent to use again than where it did, you know, with the post-season 3 changes. The damage has not been adjusted or anything like that, but that's okay in my view. It's now just a far more consistent launcher to use, and it doesn't feel like you're fighting it. Again, good to see DICE put some attention back to there again. Really quickly as well, and I'm not going to talk to this too much here at the moment, guys, because I need to do more testing on this, but the new attachments that have been added to the game, being the Aut buckshot as well as the cryo barrel, I've had a bit of time with both, and I'm pleased to report that they are game changers in some regard. The new buckshot, man, that can feel extremely deadly in the right hands and in the right situation. I feel like that's going to make a diabolical video coming up. And the new cryo barrel, it's not available on a very large suite of weapons, but on the guns that it is available on, it can feel pretty solid, pretty snappy. So stay tuned for a video coming on that really, really shortly. We're going to be doing a bunch of weapon guides very soon about the cryo barrel. But anyway, as I said at the start of the video, guys, this update is not perfect. It's an almost perfect update for me. And I say that because the positives that are here tilt the scales so positively in the right direction that it's not that I'm almost willing to overlook the negatives that are here, because there are some negatives here, but they are just so good that they make the moment-to-moment gameplay feel far more enjoyable for me, which means that the little inconveniences that have come as a result are less noticeable for me, if that makes sense. But there are issues, they need to be raised, and some of them are pretty bloody big ones. For example, there is now a new bug on the respawn screen that sees it jolting around whenever you select a new spawn point. As in, when like you hover your cursor over a spawn point that's available to you on the map just jolts in what I can only imagine is a random direction, because I can't ascertain a pattern to it whatsoever. And if you've got a collection of spawn points all in close proximity, say a bunch of squad mates, good fucking luck trying to select them right now, because it's going to feel like your monitor is located on a Richter scale 9.4 earthquake. I genuinely don't know how this particular bug made it through testing, because I would have imagined that surely someone had to have died and respawned in testing at some point. And I don't know how that bug didn't get picked up on and then go, oh shit, we should probably fix that. It's actually a bit of a nauseating bug under a long period of gameplay. I actually caught myself starting to feel a bit unwell from time to time, because it just kept on happening every time I tried to respawn, and it kept even throwing me at spawn points that I didn't want to, because, well, I just couldn't accurately select where I wanted to go. So yeah, that one is a bit of a big one, and I think DICE need to get an urgent hotfix out for that as soon as possible, because it is actually a bit sickening from time to time. Another bug has also made its way to the game here that sees the defibrillator losing its visual pulse effect when you successfully revive someone. So it's basically the Battlefield 6 beta version of the defibs from a visual feedback perspective. And let me tell you, I didn't really know how good we had it until I lost it again, because it felt really jarring to not get that, you know, visual blue pulse to suggest that I've actually revived someone again. I actually managed to miss and then keep running away from a revive because that visual feedback wasn't there anymore. So I'd like to see DICE maybe get that fixed as soon as possible too, but it's a little bit less game breaking than the spawn screen bug. I'll give them that at least. I also ran into an issue pretty consistently, and I'm going to out myself here somewhat slightly, I understand that, but the game will not properly rotate you back to the main menu if you leave a match halfway through. Yeah, look, I know that outs me. It sometimes happens, guys. Look, sometimes you just get a match that you cannot finish because it's just that frustrating. Sue me. I like to have fun when I play my games. But the biggest issue I think a lot of people are going to take with this update is not one that I think comes in the form of a bug. It's actually to do with some of the new content that dropped in Season 3 Blast Point. I want to start off by talking about the PP19 SMG. Now, this is an SMG I've not had a chance to use yet because, surprise, surprise, it's locked behind a special event battle pass. Only once again, the community have done the math on the battle pass points required to unlock it and the challenges that are being offered for week 1 and have determined that, yep, it's going to take 3 weeks to unlock this SMG if you want to do it entirely for free. Look, I know DICE are trying to, incentivize people to spend their money. I get it. They're a business. They have to do that. I get it. But to me, there is a certain degree of not sliminess, but pulling the veil over people when you say you're going to release a weapon on a certain day and then it not be available to people who already paid for the game and have, in likelihood, paid for your battle pass already as well for 3 weeks after unless they spend more money. That just doesn't sit right with me. Now, I've got leftover coins that I plan on using to unlock this thing earlier. I admit to that because I also want to get a weapon review out for you guys as soon as possible. But yeah, for the average player, that's not going to be a good look, and I don't know why DICE continue to take this approach in balancing out their mid-season battle passes and where they're placing weapons in said battle passes. It just feels a bit wrong to me. And further to that, we've got to talk about the limited time mode, Obliteration. Now, I haven't had a chance to play in the mode yet. It's a mode that I'm excited about because I used to love Obliteration back in the Battlefield 4 day when I had a chance to play it. However, the problem this time around is that this mode is only available on 3 maps. Now, DICE have made it very, very clear over and over again that they plan on doubling down on limited time modes as a means to test and, really get an idea of what new types of experiences work for the Battlefield ecosystem. Which, okay, if you're using it to test new mechanics and test new experiences, fine. I understand trying to limit things somewhat, but only using 3 of the game's ever-growing map pool feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity. Obliteration, I'm going to be honest, is likely to get boring super quickly here, which is not the kind of message you want to send for a limited time game mode, which is also slated and messaged as being one of the substantial pieces of content for your second phase of your season. It just feels a bit half-assed, like it's a kind of a way to try and re-energize existing maps here without too much effort. I know I'm probably being a bit rude about that, but it's just how it feels as I, commentate this at 12:35 after just running a 4.5 hour long live stream. Anyways, guys, those are the major talking points I had from update 1.3.2.0. I know that we ended on a sour note here, and quite frankly, I probably could have done a bit of a better job about mixing up the narrative a little bit here with pros and cons, but I will say this, guys, in aggregate, the update makes the gameplay loop of the game, in where it tried to achieve improvements, feel far better. And I'm actually really enjoying the game and the improvements that have been made since the update as a result. I'm excited to jump back in and get some more content for you guys really, really soon. If you guys want to see more of that, get subscribed so that you're staying up to date with all future video releases and live streams. Also, be sure to give the video a like, as it does go a long, long way to supporting the channel. And let me know in the comment section down below what your guys' thoughts are. Are you enjoying the new map? Do you like the changes? Where do you think there are problems? Let me know down below. But until next time, guys, stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves and each other, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace, guys. Have a good one.